Is all CBD the same? Because this is a topic that comes up all the time. You have the cannabis people, laws have changed, and now they're having, being able to breed out the THC. Now extraction companies are able to literally shake out and literally pull out the other cannabinoids and leaving in, CBD. I am a big fan of CBDA and THCA, and those that are just tuning into the show. That's the raw portion of the plant. So it's basically like wheatgrass, remember in the 70s,
Right.
80s, everyone would juice wheatgrass. So if you have a cannabis plant in your backyard and it's a high THC or high CBD plant, it's raw, you can juice that, take it as a wheatgrass shot or a cannabis shot, non-psychoactive, great for inflammation, and that's the acid form, not LSD acid, but acid form, the raw form.
The raw form is acidic in nature.
Yeah.
And I totally agree with you, John. Those are the natural forms. When you start changing them, when you start processing them heavily, you're going to strip out components that were, in my mind, were meant to be there in nature. And we talked off camera, I think, about, well, maybe we did this on camera, about some people that are trying to treat epilepsy with CBD, and there's a percentage that has success and a percentage that doesn't. I've seen a higher success with the more natural CBDA acidic component, that kind of an extract. So to me, CBDA is more exciting, and so is a THCA. They're the natural, found in nature forms of these two medical components. And that's the way nature intended them, and I don't like the heavy processing. I'm not a big fan of CBD 1 and 2. I'm not a big fan of decarboxylation processes either.
Well, it's funny. I had a friend of mine, who's a doctor, on the show, and he said, the first documented case of cannabis was 5,000 plus years ago, and he said, well, first off, they didn't know how to document anything, 5,500 years. So that was the thing. And then he said, here's the point. They didn't discover fire for the longest time either. So maybe that's why they always went raw, with the raw plants until they.
You could say that. But, I liken that more towards, if you really think back even a couple of thousand years ago, there were no lights, there were no TVs, there were no highways, there were no cars. There was like a donkey.
Isn't that nice? I mean, we're having that right now. We're at home. I'm not liking the traffic that comes back.
What somebody did was, somebody that had survived for a while and was considered an elder would probably put a big heavy robe on before the sun went down, take a person who's a little bit younger out, take them to the edge of the forest. We didn't have cultivated crops back then. So you took a younger person to the edge of the forest and you pointed and said, you can eat that. And it might have been an onion. You can eat that. And it might have been rapini, like a wild broccoli. Yeah. And then if you get a cold, you can chew that, or you can make it into a tea. And if you get pain, you can chew on this. And so this is how these medicines got discovered. And then somebody said, well, let's find out what component of that plant makes the pain go away, and let's pull it out, and we've got a better thing. In that case, aspirin is salicylic acid, which is in a lot of plants. Okay. And what are we finding out? Taking aspirin will eventually corrode your stomach if you take your baby aspirin every day, which can be another cause of death. So I like to have, I'm not telling people to go out to the edge of the forest if they have pain and start chewing plants. I mean, we have plant medicine that you can access. But I like the entourage effect. To me, is the whole, as much of the plant as you can. Plant. Yeah, it's as little, it's as insignificantly denatured as possible. So you don't want to denature the plant, and that's what I think a lot of people are doing in the CBD manufacture. I think the machines are very inexpensive. You can make huge quantities. It's in an oil then, usually. Now they're responding and make it into powders and stuff, but they've got to reprocess it to do that. Well, what we did when we looked into this was say, how can we just take the plant, and how can we end up with everything but the protein, which is usually reactive, and the fiber, which is bulky.
Yeah.
And if you look at one of our capsules, it's green because the chlorophyll's still in there.
Which I'm a big fan of. And again, I like you, I'm not a big fan of the isolates. And a lot of companies are coming to start, making these isolates. Hi, John Malanca here with United Patients Group. I hope you've enjoyed our videos. Please click like as well as subscribe to our channel here on YouTube. Also, follow us on Twitter at Patients Group and on Facebook at United Patients Group, as well as for our podcast. Please click the link in the description below. We'll see you there. Bye-bye.